So the title of my story is, sometimes it's the destination, not the journey. A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to take planes, trains, and automobiles to do the number one thing on my bucket list. And that was return to my mother's homeland of Korea with my mother. So, because I was a government employee, and well, I'm not a government employee, but I was going on a government trip, so the government was paying for it, I got to sit in first class. But when you sit in first class, you actually get to lay down and sleep, because they have sleeper pods now on Delta, and that's a wonderful thing. So I slept all the way to Korea, the 14-hour direct flight from Atlanta. But when I got there, I got very teary. And the first moment my foot hit Korean soil, I realized that this was my unknown homeland. The smells were so different. That of the pungent kimchi, garlic, seafood. The sounds were so different. You didn't hear English, but this clattering and chattering language that I had never learned. The buildings were so different in Seoul because there were enormous skyscrapers like I had never seen before. Beautiful modern buildings, but interspersed with these buildings that had been there for centuries. And all of them somehow architecturally tied in. The sounds, the smells, the tastes of my mother's homeland, of foods that she had not eaten in more than 60 years. Something called, well, I can't even call the Korean names, we won't do that because I'll just butcher them. But these little mung bean cakes that you go into the markets where they're frying them. And as you bite into it, it's crisp and it's hot and it's not spicy, and then you dip it into the beautiful spicy soy sauce vinegary dressing they give you. The taste of kimchi freshly made in huge vats, just sitting out in markets. The smell and the taste of spicy, raw, live crabs that everyone was munching on. And everywhere I went, I wanted to cry. I remember the Korean people because they were so kind and so genuine and so open. And everyone does this. Everyone wants a selfie with you, and everybody's going with the peace sign. And then we were in a museum, and the little girl showing us around was maybe 6 years old, and she told me another sign, and it was this, which is a symbol of a heart. Our last night there, after taking planes and automobiles everywhere, after seeing the last train that had gone to Pyongyang, where my mother had grown up in North Korea and fled at 12, where there is a large board that counts down the number of minutes and days and hours that this train had last traveled into North Korea. The last day we were there, and I had taken in all of these sights and these sounds and these smells and these experiences and these beautiful people. We decide, because we're staying at the Four Seasons, that we were too tired to go eat because we had spent the entire trip, the entire 2 weeks, eating only at little places where no Americans would, I would be the only thing that even looked like a white person there. And my mother was translating for me, but sometimes she would forget, and instead of telling me whatever needed to be told in English, she would tell it in Korean to me, and I'd have to remind her, I don't speak Korean. That's why you're here, to be the interpreter. What am I eating? Please tell me it's not a sea squirt, they're nasty. But the last night we were there, we were tired, we had packed up, we had an early flight, and we decided to go into the bar at the Four Seasons to have dinner, which was the most expensive dinner we had while in Korea. In Korea, in the restaurant, the most expensive meal we had for the two of us was like 15 American dollars. This one was like $45 if you didn't count the amount of wine that we drank and we just had appetizers. But the part that I remember is this, that the young bartender working there said, he was very fascinated with my mother's history. And he looked at me and he said, know this, if you have one drop of Korean blood in you, your feet will always solidly be in this homeland, which you now know. Thank you.